Okay, hello and welcome to AfroFuse. My name is Marcus Alang and this is your home for everything African urban music. Today we are joined by Just a Band. Right now we have Blinky Bill and Daniel Muli with us. Later on we'll be joined by Mbithi Masia and they'll be telling us more about their music. Speaking of Hahib, how did the game change for you after that was released? What did you expect it to be that big of a hit?
I think we always make music with the hope that it's going to reach a bunch of people, but that one surprised us with how far it got. And so after that, the scale changed in the sense that I guess more people were willing to take a chance on us with kind of more outlandish ideas, or would give us opportunities that, new opportunities and everything. So after that, I think is when a lot more, we got a lot more opportunities to travel and play in different places, and as well as got connections into the art world in different places. It was just, it did change a bunch of things.
Before that, how was it?
It was hard. When we were starting out, it was more, we want to, there's different kinds of artists. There's artists who want to make music for the masses, and there's artists who want to make what they feel like they want to make.
Yes.
And I feel like at that point, we just want to make what we want to make. It still is like that. We still make what we want to make. But there's also the responsibility to an audience that is now bigger.
What's been your most proud moment?
Some of the places that we've gotten to go to, and so you'll go to some country on the other side of the planet, and then you get a huge crowd coming to see you guys, and that's quite surreal. And especially when you actually make a connection, and there's people who don't necessarily understand what it is that you're talking about, and they're willing to go along with you because they find some kind of anchor in the music, and they'll be there with you dancing and heckling and all this kind of stuff. That's quite surreal.
Along that very note, before we get to yours, have you ever been at a place and you don't expect people to sing along?
Yeah.
But there they are. Every single word, every single point of the song, they are with you. They are moving with you.
Yeah. I guess most famously, there were these guys that we met. We were playing at South by Southwest in Texas, and then they had come from
Mexico.
Yes, they had come from Mexico, and they knew all the words to every song, and they were right in front of us.
But we had to go and say hi to them. It's like Jungo's singing along to Hey.
Bill, what's your moment?
Moment zangu ni mingi. The last Blankets was very cool. Live at the Elephant as well. We've done, over the past 2 years, we've done shows in Nairobi that have been exceptionally good. Like, the response is always very nice. But also there's a gig we played last year. It's at the Palio Festival, which is a huge festival in Switzerland. And we were expecting like 200 people. But I think that's the biggest audience we've ever played. It was a couple thousand people, and they were
Biggest audience ever.
as of right now.
Wow.
Yeah. And they were like just flowing with everything. It was quite cool.
Do remember you can join us on Facebook, like our page. Tell us what you think about African urban music as well as Just a Band's music. They are with us right now. The page to search for is AfroFuse, and on Twitter we are at AfroFuse. But right now we are joined by Blinky Bill and Mbithi Masia. What up?
What's up?
How you doing? All right. Now, Huff and Puff.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
We were contacted by some Norwegian film students who, as part of their film course, were going to make like documentary films about different things. So these two guys decided to make a film about us making a video. So they came up with this challenge where they gave us kind of simple rules about what has to happen in the video. It has to contain a movie reference in every cut. It has to contain us. So it's the first video where we actually appear ourselves. And what was there? What else?
And if you cut,
Yeah, if you cut, like there has to be a movie reference or something like that.
yeah. So, ideally, it was supposed to be a one-take video.
Yeah, we're the ones who
we're
decided
the
to do
ones
it
who
because we didn't want to
decided.
start having too many references.
Yes.
So yeah, we decided to make a one-take video whose reference was a Clockwork Orange. And yeah, we went to a quarry in Athiriva and just shot that insanity. I honestly think it's one of our like just straight out weirdest videos, but guys really like it, so I guess that's a good thing.
Your music, what's the end game with it?
Initially, when we started making music, I remember when we were in university, we were listening to a lot of different types of music, but we were also very inspired by what Ogopa was doing with Ogopa One. Like, there was a lot of tracks there that sounds that we'd not had before being used by Kenyans, and that still remains the thing, is that we want to push the envelope as much as possible, but also we want to make good music. So if all the things in between, like if people feel compelled to go to school because of the music, it's good. You know, yeah. But the end of the Nini is to express ourselves in all these different ways, whether it's music or film or photography or all these other things.
There's one particular track that has a very, it feels like it has a very political message to it. Usinibo. Why?
That song was written around 2007, 2008, during that period where like the country was almost crumbling. We just needed to say something about, because in Kenya, sadly, our celebrities are politicians. Like, we can say musicians are celebrities, but we all know we are lying about it, because when you see a nameless in the supermarket, you won't go, it's very few people who will go and say, "You guy, your music inspires me, blah, blah, blah." But you see a Mike Sonko, and everyone wants to, and is milling around them. But we keep going around these circles of where we're just not moving forward. And that 2007 period was very annoying for me, and I know for a lot of Kenyans as well, because you're fighting. I don't know who you voted for, and I don't care. But now it becomes them, they're okay, but us, we are chopping each other. So
Let's talk about Sorry for the Delay. The release concept was very interesting.
Concept?
You had
The
a
card.
little card. Tell us about that card.
Okay, so Sorry for the Delay was our last album, which we released at the end of 2012. And first of all, the whole process of making that album was a bit different from the others and a bit more experimental. So we decided to experiment with the release out of necessity, and also just to see what you could come up with. So,
Out of necessity, how?
money.
Okay.
Yeah, CDs cost money to
Pressing
print, especially if you're printing many. So we tried this little thing where you could buy a card that had a download code, and then you can go online and download the album once you bought the card.
Yes.
And it helped keep the album cheap because we were selling it at 300 bob.
Yes.
And it did well. It's one of those things, the whole international music industry is kind of like in transition, and no one has quite figured out how best to distribute music now. So CD sales still count, but digital is also picking up. So we were just kind of in the middle, trying to see how to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys have managed to keep a very loyal and dedicated core group of fans. How did that happen?
we've stayed true to the music that we started out with
Yes.
in the first place.
Yes.
Because there's very few musicians in Kenya who can say you have had a career for 20, 30, 40 years. Because it's like after 5 years, everyone is like, are you changing or are you switching it up? And if you're not doing what is trendy at the time, then no one is listening to you anymore. But for us, because from day one, we were always the outsiders. And I feel like even right now, we still have that thing where it's like, we are not mainstream. Some people know us. And it's cool to be mainstream sometimes, but for me, it's the thing I'd like to be is like a Huma Sekela, for example, where your career has been for 20 years, 40 years, 50 years, you're still making music, you're doing your thing, a Prince, those kinds of people. And if you look at the way those guys have made music, is they're always doing something new and they're always themselves.
If you could do a retake of anything, take two of anything, what would it be?
Each of us has that.
Help me understand that.
If you could hit reset and start afresh.
So do your job. Just a band or?
As just a band. Yes. As just
Any philosophy.
And we shall leave you thinking. On that note, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. Asante sana.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Keep the comments coming in on our Facebook page. It's AfroFuse. On Twitter, we are at AfroFuse. Tell us what you think about Just a Band, their music, why you think they will be 20 years from now. And if you have an answer to that question on their behalf, tell us about that as well. This is AfroFuse. My name is Marcus Solang. Have a good one.